There are guys who chase fame, and then there's Vitaly, a man so allergic to obscurity he turned public embarrassment into a career plan. This dude's entire personality is built like a YouTube thumbnail, loud, sweaty, and begging for attention. It started off innocent enough. Back in the early 2010s, Vitaly was just another guy with a camera and a dream. He made prank videos, pretty much the classic YouTube era. Some fake zombies chasing people, awkward public flirting, and dumb stunts. But unlike everyone else, Vitaly had one secret weapon. Zero shame. None. Nada. That's why people watched, and that's why his channel blew up. Then came the first oops. In 2012, he decided to fake a bomb threat by dropping a suitcase in public and sprinting away like he was in a spy movie. People didn't laugh, they panicked. Streets cleared, alarms went off, and Vitaly got exactly what he wanted. Attention. And, well, handcuffs. This was his first mugshot. Sadly, there would be many. But did that stop him? Of course not. Getting arrested was just free promo. 2 years later, he took things international, quite literally. He ran onto the pitch at the World Cup, shirtless, for no reason, got tackled, and got arrested again. It became a bit like clockwork. Stunt, mugshot, views. In 2016, he climbed the Hollywood sign, arrested. 2 weeks later, he ran shirtless onto the court at the NBA Finals, arrested again. Then in 2017, he pulled the same stunt at the World Series. Different sport, but you've guessed it, same result. By that point, his rap sheet had more tour stops than most comedians. And it wasn't a problem for him, but instead it was the goal. He treated jail like a recurring gig. His mugshots looked like a yearbook. New location, different outfit, same smug smile. But then it escalated. In 2020, he decided to climb the actual pyramids in Egypt. Like ancient wonder of the world, the tourist prison kind of pyramids. He vlogs the whole thing, thanks the universe, and 5 minutes later, boom, Egyptian jail for 5 days. Still, no lesson learned, because when he gets out, he gets worse. But before the real descent began, Vitaly tried flying a little too close to the sun, literally. At some point between the Egypt stunt and the next breakdown, he went skydiving and ended up in the hospital. The details are fuzzy, because of course they are, but according to Vitaly himself, something went wrong mid-jump. He posted from a hospital bed with his leg in a brace and a caption about being grateful to be alive. For a minute, it looked like a turning point. A brush with death usually makes people rethink their whole brand. But instead of reflection, he used it as content. More thumbnails, more stories, another chapter in the crazy life of Vitaly. No rehab arc, no break from social media, just vibes and painkillers. And if there was any lasting trauma, you wouldn't know it. The next few weeks were business as usual. Pranks, chaos, and that permanent smirk glued to his face. The kind of grin that says, yeah, I almost died, now let's go film. It was clear by then that nothing, no injury, arrest, or backlash was going to slow him down. Every incident was just another story for the next stream. And that mentality, it didn't lead him to a redemption, it led him to Miami, where things stopped being content and started being crimes. So a few months later in Miami, things go from cringe prank guy to something much darker. He's allegedly high on mushrooms, or more likely everything in the pharmacy, and randomly attacks a woman jogging. According to reports, he lunged at her, got pushed off, and then just started beating her down. Like, no warning, no camera, no prank, just violence. He was arrested again, and this time it wasn't funny. The dude looked like he'd been chewed up and spit out by Florida itself. That was supposed to be the wake-up call, the moment when the influencer turned his life around. Spoiler, it didn't. After the Miami assault, Vitaly finally disappeared. Not from the internet, but just from headlines. The chaos quieted down. For a while, people thought he'd finally realized that assaulting strangers wasn't a valid form of content. He didn't disappear to reflect. He just went quiet long enough for people to forget. Then he came back like nothing happened. Because like every washed-up influencer, Vitaly eventually reached for the same comeback plan. Harass people on camera and call it a prank. This time, it was worse. Instead of silly stunts, he jumped straight into full-on public harassment. He filmed himself walking up to random women and dropping pickup lines that wouldn't even pass on Tinder in 2008. Lines like, "Can I spread her butt cheeks?" and "She screams that she wants her butt to get eaten." That wasn't edgy, that wasn't funny, that was just being a creep with a camera. And the women were clearly uncomfortable. Most of the viewers annoyed, and the content was outdated and tired. But Vitaly wasn't dumb. He knew the shock factor was wearing off. so he pivoted. If people weren't reacting to his fake flirting, maybe they'd react to something heavier, like exposing pedophiles. That's when he launched his next big idea, predator-catching live streams. And at first, you could say it kind of worked. His streams pulled viewers, clips went viral. He'd confront alleged predators in public and scream at them while recording. The formula looked familiar: loud confrontation, viral buzz, all eyes on him again. But there was one small issue. None of it was verified. No police involvement, no official sting operations, just Vitaly, some vague screenshots, and a whole lot of yelling. Then the lawsuits came. Turns out some of the men he accused were not predators. What a shock. They were just unlucky enough to swipe right on the wrong profile. Multiple people came forward claiming Vitaly had lured them through fake dating app accounts, set them up with false identities, then ambushed them on camera, calling them pedophiles to thousands of viewers with no real proof. He got sued twice. The streams fizzled, the public turned, sponsors backed away, and just like that, his redemption arc collapsed into another lawsuit montage. But Vitaly still wasn't done. Around that time, he joined Kick, the Wild West of streaming platforms. Less moderation, more freedom, and a crowd that didn't mind a little chaos. At first, it looked like a lifeline, a place where he could do what he always did, push limits, without getting banned every week. But what he actually did there was weirder. Instead of just hosting prank content or talking to fans, Vitaly started mixing genres, like he was shaking a cocktail of bad ideas. One second he's pretending to expose predators with celebrities like Lil Pump, and the next he's promoting crypto casinos and online gambling. It was the perfect encapsulation of his content philosophy: shock them, then sell to them, even if that meant using the most uncomfortable, morally gray material possible. Critics were quick to point out how dangerous that was, turning serious allegations into clickbait while casually marketing gambling to teenagers. But to Vitaly, it was all part of the same brand: chaos that pays. But even chaos has an expiration date. After the lawsuits, the fake stings, and the gambling tie-ins, the Kick streams lost steam. Viewers stopped tuning in, sponsors disappeared, and Vitaly once again found himself back at square one, banned from platforms, rejected by advertisers, and desperate for relevance. So, like he always did, he looked for a new stage. Vitaly never quits, he just decided to change location. If America wouldn't tolerate him anymore, maybe somewhere else would. So he booked a flight to the Philippines, and that's where things went from messy to international crisis. The idea was simple: copy the formula of another washed-out creator, Johnny Somali. Go to a developing country, live stream yourself being a menace, and cash in on the outrage. That was the plan. What could possibly go wrong? Vitaly lands in the Philippines and immediately starts doing what he does best, being the most annoying man alive on camera. But this time, the pranks weren't just dumb, they were borderline criminal. First, he walks up to a local woman, tells her he's going to rob her if she keeps walking away, then flips it and offers her money. Classic intimidation, now in HD. When that fails, he finds a man on the street, rips his hat off his head, and runs away with it like a toddler who thinks theft is a joke. Then he storms into the back of a fast food restaurant and starts bothering the workers like he owns the place. No permit, no permission, just pure unfiltered entitlement. Then it gets worse. He starts harassing security guards. One poor guy just standing at his post gets hit with lines like, "Can I shove this up your..." followed by the most inappropriate questions you can imagine. The man doesn't even flinch, probably wondering what level of karma brought this guy to his shift. Then Vitaly jumps on the man's motorcycle and pretends to steal it, shouting nonsense while live streaming the whole thing. That would have been enough to get most people arrested, but Vitaly keeps going. He finds another guard and harasses him too. Then for good measure, he heads to a mall, steals a light therapy mask, and runs out of the store laughing. "Oh no, mommy," he says into the camera like a cartoon villain in a sitcom no one watches anymore. Then somehow he steals a fan, a whole pedestal fan, carries it out like it's his personal trophy, then turns to the chat and calls it his only fan. Because even when committing actual crimes, bro's still trying to farm puns. The worst part is that people were watching. He had viewers. He had donators. The clips were flying around TikTok and Twitter. For a moment, it looked like he was going to pull it off. Another wave of viral chaos. another moment in the spotlight. And that's probably how it would have gone if the Filipino police weren't also watching. A few days later, they tracked him down, and bam, he got arrested. Again. Mugshot number, who knows? This time, he's smirking in it, like it's all a joke. When they read him his rights, he pulls faces at the camera. When he's arraigned in court, he starts clapping for himself. No remorse, no humility, just full-blown clown behavior in a courtroom. But the Philippines wasn't laughing. The story exploded across local news. Clips went viral, not just in the US, but everywhere. And the outrage hit the top. The actual president of the Philippines made a reaction video, sitting at a desk watching Vitaly's live streams like it was part of a government briefing. He called it exactly what it was: a foreigner mocking Filipinos and humiliating the country. He made it clear this wasn't going to slide, that Vitaly's circus act was officially over. And just like that, it wasn't content anymore, it was a criminal case, and a very public one. Now, if this were back in LA, maybe he could have dodged it. Post bail, post an apology, post a fake redemption arc, repeat. But this wasn't LA, this was the Philippines, and the authorities over there were treating this less like a prank and more like an international insult. Vitaly was slapped with a laundry list of charges: trespassing, theft, harassment, disturbing the peace, disrespecting public officers, creating content without a permit. Basically, every box that could be checked was. And here's the kicker, they weren't rushing it. In the Philippines, trials don't move like YouTube uploads. His case could take 2 to 3 years just to start, which means, best case scenario, Vitaly's spending the foreseeable future sitting in jail waiting for at least 2 or 3 years. No camera, no live stream, just time. Lots of it. And while he hasn't been sentenced yet, he's looking at a possible 24 years in prison. So in his eyes, the 2 or 3 years in prison don't look that bad now. For someone who needs attention like oxygen, this is a nightmare. The views stop, the donations dry up, the algorithms forget your name, and the internet does what it always does, moves on. Meanwhile, Vitaly's stuck. He's not in a luxury holding cell. He's in a Southeast Asian jail system that's, let's say, not built for influencers. And the irony is that this might be the first time in years that Vitaly didn't have full control of his narrative. No editing tricks, no titles, no comments to delete, just the reality he created playing out in real time in a country that isn't playing around. Back home, people start to notice. Not because they care, but because it's weird to see someone this loud suddenly this quiet. Some fans are confused. Others pretend they never watched him. A few diehard defenders call it unfair, say it's just a cultural misunderstanding, but most people were just tired of him, the same way you eventually mute a fire alarm that never turns off. Vitaly always wanted to be remembered, and now he will be, but not as the prank king or the viral mastermind. He'll be remembered as the guy who couldn't stop pushing until someone finally pushed back. And the saddest part is that he had chances. After every arrest, every scandal, every mugshot, there were off-ramps. All he had to do was stop, or pivot, or grow up. But the thing about chasing attention is, it never ends. There's no finish line, just a slow crawl toward whatever gets the next reaction. And Vitaly's reaction? Sitting in jail, waiting for a trial that won't even start until his fanbase forgets he existed.